Welcome back to the YCN Game of the Week, brought to you by La Valley Building Supply. I'm Mike Pizzone, joined in the booth by Josh Weinrib of the Valley News. And men's continuing to show his toughness, staying in the game injured and continuing to run the ball for these guys. You know he's not functioning 100% right now, but not willing to give in his final high school game. Another carry there, and Somersworth now facing a 4th down and 6, it looks like. So Newport in control with running time at this point, with an advantage of more than 35 points. So Newport's going to take a timeout, and we'll take that timeout too from our YCN Game of the Week. Welcome back to the YCN Game of the Week, brought to you by La Valley Building Supply. I'm Mike Pizzone, joined by Josh Weinrib of the Valley News, and we're starting to see some substitutions for Newport, although it's Wade who's going to scamper into the end zone from 35 yards out for his 4th touchdown of the game. Noah Wade doing it again on the first play of that possession for the Tigers, finds the end zone from 35 yards out. What a day for Noah Wade. 4 touchdowns, and now has Newport leading 55-12 with 10:44 remaining in the contest. So we've said it all day, this kid has done it all for the Tigers. Quiet kid, humble kid, but making a ton of noise on the football field today with his 4th touchdown. CJ Lawrence has the other 3, and it's Mariah Chase set to kick off the extra point here for the Tigers. Converted on her team's last touchdown. Snap is down, kick is up, and that kick is good. So Chase, back-to-back extra points for Newport. And the Tigers, the top-seeded and unbeaten Tigers at that, now lead this one 56-12. So we'll take a quick break from our YCN Game of the Week. Welcome back to the YCN Game of the Week, brought to you by La Valley Building Supply. I'm Mike Pizzone, joined by Josh Weinrib of the Valley News, and Newport kicking it off once again after yet another touchdown. Tough ball to pick up for the Somersworth player. That was Connor Santos on the return. But decent starting field position for the Hilltoppers as they're going to start this drive from what looks like the 36-yard line. So Somersworth has their back to the wall. They've had their back to the wall all day, and unfortunately at this point in the game, it's just going through the motion. I mean, we have running time on the clock now with such a big lopsided advantage for Newport. So unfortunately, just kind of going through the motions for the Hilltoppers as men's lines up under center.
5 touchdown runs for Wade. This is
I mean, unbelievable.
5 for Wade and 3 for CJ Lawrence. I mean, if you want a microcosm of what the Newport offense is, you're getting it tonight, or today. It's not tonight. The sun is out.
And the sun is out. And Newport, you know, they were resting some of their players. Lawrence was on the sideline for that snap, and it was actually Kyle Rositer, the backup quarterback, number 19, who handed that ball off. McNamara was also on the sideline. So resting some of their players, but Wade, not one of them, and
why would you?
Oh, please, 35-yard touchdown. I mean, yeah. As men's, once again, quarterback keeper takes another punishing hit. But credit to him, as the Hilltoppers face a 3rd down and 6, it looks like. And again, running time, we're now approaching 9 minutes to go in the game.
Stevens is up 14-13 on Bo.
That's the word on the street.
And a lot of people here are hoping and praying for another Stevens-Newport matchup.
Yeah,
those games are always fun.
They announced that score, the Stevens score, over the PA system, and I thought I heard some cheering from both the Newport fans and the sidelines.
They want it.
As well,
they want a rematch.
Yeah.
And you know, it's funny because Stevens, they've had their rough patches this season, but they're a dangerous team, and I'm not sure that Newport can. I'm not sure that Stevens can beat Newport.
Sure.
But it's fun. Yeah. And it's a fun atmosphere. And they're neighbors and they're rivals.
Exactly.
And games like that are always fun to watch.
The schools are separated by all of 10 miles. But honestly, if you're Newport, I'd imagine there's a little fear. I mean, like Somersworth, sure, they're 4-14, but you haven't faced them during the season. You don't know much about them. And same thing with Bow. You don't know much about that Bow team. So obviously, the proximity of Stevens, you know these teams have scouted each other a couple times. You know, obviously, they've gone head-to-head. So just for familiarity's standpoint, yeah, they want Stevens.
And a lot of the kids know each other. A lot of the players play football. I mean, they know. I mean, you pick two teams in New Hampshire football that know each other better than Stevens Newport. I mean, I can't think of any.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, the only other thought would be, okay, Stevens Fall Mountain.
Yeah, or Lebanon, Hanover.
Yeah. But I don't know that they're as friends. Like, I know Stevens and Fall Mountain, they scrimmage together over the preseason and stuff like that, whereas Lebanon, Hanover, I think that's just, we don't like each other. So approaching 7 minutes to go here as Newport starts their drive from the 1 yard line. A little tricky field position for the Tigers to start this drive off after a nice punt by Menz. So Lawrence, who we thought maybe was going to have the rest of the day off, unfortunately with their back to their own end zone, he was kind of needed to do that kind of punch in the gut running.
Here he comes out. He's had quite the workload today. I think you can give him a break.
So Rossiter, number 19, lined up under center for Newport. He is a sophomore quarterback, so getting some pretty pivotal playoff experience here as just a sophomore to get himself in this game. That's got to bode well for the future of these Tigers. Oop. It's going to be a false start. Looks like number 55 for Newport. So at this point, it's only going to be a half the distance to the goal type penalty. So back to the 1 yard line, and I think that might mean C.J. Lawrence needs to get back in there. We'll see what the call is.
6 minutes and 15 seconds.
That clock continues to tick, approaching 6 minutes to go in the game.
Okay, I take that back. Looks like some JV.
So Josh, if I had told you coming into the game Newport would score 56 points, I'm guessing you would have said, yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Somersworth 12 points, would you have...
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because you think about... Oh, this is quite the run. Tyler Sharon.
Yep. See, only in high school do your kickers make runs like that, showing some strength and brute strength there.
But it's funny because you had to think at some point Somersworth is going to get on the board. I mean... Agreed. I think the weapons that they have, you had to think that there was going to be a big play here or there. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, they had two drives where they scored. You know, that was bound to happen.
Agreed. I guess it was probably just the way in which it happened that made us for a little while think, oh wow, this could turn into some kind of a game. But you're right. In the big picture, the grand scheme of things, 12 points. Yeah. Wow. Number 44, Doe. Just still going. Finally brought down by Menz, who once again is doing it all for Somersworth. But Jake Dow breaking free for a big run.
And you know what's funny? As impressive as that was, and as fast as he is, who tackled him? It was Menz.
Oh yeah, yep. Jake Dow, a junior. So just showing you, yes, that two-headed horse between Lawrence and Wade, but this team has even more depth than maybe even they let on.
That's a scary thought. I mean, honestly, do you think any team can beat them in Division 3?
In Division 3 this year?
I'm not convinced.
I haven't seen them. Granted, I mean, you and I spend a lot of time covering the North Division. We haven't seen so much of those Southern teams, but I haven't seen a team that's capable.
I think especially if Stevens pulls away from Bow.
Yep.
I don't think there's any way that Newport loses that game. They've seen Stevens before. They've shut him down before.
Yep.
And I think, because what was the final score of the first Stevens Newport game? It was lopsided.
It was lopsided. Stevens did make a little run. They did get on the board with a couple nice touchdowns, but it was a lopsided final score. Can't quote me on what that number was.
Yeah, I forget what that number was. But I mean, either way, it was lopsided.
Yeah. And
I think whatever you have to do to stop Newport, Stevens doesn't have it.
Couldn't agree more. And quite honestly, we talked about the potential for this being a shootout. This is a team like those, New Orleans Saints teams from a few years ago, or those Bengals teams that just put up points and points and points. You know, I don't think that Stevens has the offensive firepower to hang with this team.
No, and I don't think so either. And I think if it's Stevens, that almost guarantees them a spot in the. Yeah, it was what, 42-12?
Yeah, so still a 30-point
and this is
victory for Newport.
56-12.
Yeah.
I mean, if fast forward this a week, and if it's Newport Stevens, this could easily be 56-12 again.
It really could be.
And it would be the exact same game, and played the exact same way, and Newport wouldn't have to change a thing, and that's what makes this team so dangerous.
But there is that potential. You know just as well as I do, those rivalry games, when you put Newport and Stevens, remember we were up at Lebanon, Hanover, and Hanover comes and breaks free for that first touchdown of the game and actually leads Lebanon. I mean, when you put two rivals together, you can throw those records out the window.
That's true.
And especially coming after if the Cardinals were to hold off and beat Bo. That's a nice, confidence boost. So we're approaching 2 minutes to go here in the contest. The top-seeded Newport Tigers leading this one 56-12 over Somersworth. And again, a big, valiant effort by Somersworth here.
Other scores around the Upper Valley. Wyndham and Lebanon are tied at 7 at halftime.
So that game's a lot slower. Only in halftime, where the Stevens game's in the fourth quarter, and this one's inside 2 minutes now.
So Wyndham and Lebanon are tied at halftime. So Division II.
So the Tigers facing a 2nd down and 9. We're approaching a minute and a half to go. Josh, for good measure, are we running out the clock, or are we trying to find the end zone one time?
We're running the clock.
Okay.
I mean, well, how much are they up by? What?
I'm not a math
40?
major.
Oh, God. This is why I'm a writer
we
and
write.
a journalist. We write. I don't do math, so.
That handoff goes to Dow. Yeah, we'll let our viewers do the math there.
Yeah. They're smart.
But you are right. It seems
Smarter
like
than I am.
they are content just running out this clock. By no means are they going to add insult to injury here for Somersworth and be satisfied with a 56-12 advantage. So we talked about it in the intro. I mean, this game had a big potential of getting out of hand. Early in the first half, we thought, okay, this could be closer than we think, but nope, this game eventually did get out of hand. So kudos to the Newport Tigers for sticking to the game plan, and even when faced with a little bit of adversity, and getting the job done. I mean, they really, between the depth, their ability to kind of brush off those things that went against them today, can't say enough about this Newport Tigers team.
Well, this is impressive. This is just another step. This feels like another Newport game, and that's what makes this team so good and so impressive. And there's a lot more to come.
It's true. I mean,
this group.
I didn't notice any nerves from this team coming into the playoffs. You know, this was a team that
they know how to get it done. They know what they need to do, and they did it.
So a great job by the Newport Tigers as they win this one, their Division III tournament opener over Somersworth, 56-12, and set up a matchup in the semifinals next week. We'll see if it's between Stevens or Bo. By the time this airs Wednesday night, you'll know who it's against. But a great job by the Tigers, and also probably a good time to mention our HR Clough Kearsarge Heating Oil turning up the heat player of the game. Usually it's a play of the game. Today it's going to be a player of the game because, come on. Noah Wade, 4 touchdowns, including...
5.
Sorry. Shortchanging. 5 touchdowns, including runs...
They all blend together.
I mean, at this point. But runs of 85 yards on one, runs of 75 yards on another. I mean, Noah Wade doing it all. So congratulations to him for being named our HR Clough Kearsarge Heating Oil turning up the heat player of the game. So stay tuned after the break when we bring you some post-game reactions from your YCN Game of the Week. So a great job by the Newport defense as McNamara hands it off to Wade, and he's going to break free. So talk about 60-yard runs. This is going to be at least 70.
That's 75 yards.
75-yard touchdown run. I'm Mike Pizzone, joined by Noah Wade after his team's very impressive first-round win over Somersworth. And Noah, 5 touchdowns today. I mean, I'm sure that wasn't in the game plan. I'm sure Coach didn't draw it up like that today.
No.
What worked?
I don't know, just the offensive line blocked great. There's holes were wide open. As soon as I got to that second level, it was just wide open all day. So.
And what does it do for your confidence in your team's play calling to know that, they don't need to rely on you to do all the work? I mean, C.J. Lawrence is another guy, 3 touchdowns for him today. What does that do for you guys and your confidence to know that, and Nick's as well? You got a lot of options that can run the ball.
Oh yeah, we don't even have we could pass the ball if we wanted to, but I will save that for time when we need it, and we'll probably need it next week. So.
And you mentioned your offensive line as well. To be able to have that many people who are capable of finding the end zone and breaking free for these big runs, that says a lot about your line too.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And as far as next week goes, anybody in particular you want to face? Does it matter if it's Bo? Do you want to see that rival in Stevens, or do you care at this point?
I mean, the rivalry is always nice. I'd like to play Stevens again, definitely. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on today, and good luck going forward.
Thank you.
Wade cuts back inside, cuts back outside, and he's going to find that end zone, as he does get over the goal line for his 4th touchdown of the game, Josh. I'm joined by Coach McElreevy after his team's very impressive win in the first round. And Coach, Somersworth made things interesting there in the first half with those back-to-back touchdowns, but you guys never wavered, never even seemed, panicked or concerned, stuck with your game plan and just kind of continued to pour it on. I mean, was that kind of what you saw on the sidelines?
Well, yeah, you have to. We tell the players, we talk about that during the week, that bad things can happen, things that you don't plan for, and you just, you keep believing in yourself, your teammates, and eventually something good will happen. And so we stayed with the game plan. We made an adjustment at halftime defensively, which worked well for us. And with all due respect and credit to Somersworth and their quarterback, he's an outstanding young man, outstanding football player. So I have a headache right now.
And we just talked with Noah, and obviously C.J. Lawrence finding the end zone 3 times, a lot of good runs for Nix as well. What does that say? I mean, those guys who score, they get a lot of the limelight, but what does that say about your offensive line that develops those kind of holes where these guys can score?
Well, that's what I mean. I was a lineman. I coached line a lot of my life. Bill Thurlow has done a great job with them, and they know that. They know nobody's going to jump up and down with them, and I tell them that. I said, you're not going to get the pretty girls and make the big money, but you guys are the best they're going. So they have fun, and they go ahead and do it, and they're a great group of young men. Yeah.
And I know a big number of these players were on that team last year that made it to the championship and fell just short. How bad did these guys want to get back to UNH and get the job done this year?
I think they want it very badly. We talk about step 1, step 2, and step 3. So we've got step 2 coming up. And they don't say anything about it, but I know it's there.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on another great win, Coach.
Thank you
Good
very
luck.
much. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
That does it for our YCN Game of the Week, brought to you by LaValley Building Supply. Big thanks to Josh Weinrib of the Valley News for helping us out with the color commentary. And it was the Newport Tigers beating Somersworth 56-12 in the first round of the Division III tournament. So good luck to the Tigers going forward.